Hi, my name is Priyal Himanshu Kapadia. This is my task 3.2 HD of SIT 103 Database Fundamentals. And in this task, I'll be presenting NoSQL database as part of my task. And in this presentation, I'll explain what NoSQL is, why it matters, the main types, how it works internally, and the real world applications, along with some benefits and limitations of NoSQL database and the future trends as well. Now let's move to the next slide. Why NoSQL? Let's start with why NoSQL. Let's start with why NoSQL. The traditional relational databases have fixed schemas, which relies heavily on vertical scaling and often struggle with large or semi-structured data sets. While on the other hand, NoSQL database is schemaless, meaning more flexible, and they scale horizontally. So horizontally, by adding more serves, this makes them a natural fit for big fast moving data, as we see in modern applications. Talking about the next type is what are the types of NoSQL database. I have added one diagram over here, and that will represent all the types of NoSQL databases. The first one is document database, such as MongoDB, which stores flexible JSON-like data. Then the other one is key value stores like Redis, which are incredibly fast for caching, and then the third one is column friendly stores, which are like Cassandra that handle huge amounts of log or maybe or time series data. And then we have got graph databases such as Neo4j, Amazon Neptune, and that excels at relationship queries like social networks, and each type comes with their strengths and their limitations. Choosing the right one will depend on what kind of workload we have. Let's move to the next slide, and that is why NoSQL works. How NoSQL works. I'm sorry. How NoSQL works. There are like a few core features of NoSQL system, and and instead of upgrading a single server, NoSQL database uses horizontal scaling, as said before. They achieve this through scaling. They achieve this through sharding and replications. Um, Sharding splits the data across the servers, so no single node carries the entire load. Replication ensures that multiple copies exist for fault tolerance. And in this diagram, I have, as we can see, we have data being divided into the first shards, and then the dotted line represents the replica as well. The and now we have got this cap, and it also works on cap theorem. It naturally leads to the cap theorem, because which tells us that in a distributed database, we can only guarantee two out of three, that is consistency, availability, and partial partition tolerance. For example, the Cassandra and Dynamo database prioritize availability and consistency, while on the other hand, MongoDB and Neo4j prioritizes consistency and partition tolerance over availability. And this explains why NoSQL systems behave differently depending on trade-offs they make. Let's go to the next slide, which is about industry adoption. So NoSQL has been widely adopted across the industries. MongoDB is used by companies like eBay, Expedia for product catalogs. Twitter relies mostly on Redis though, and to cache billions of the requests which are sent every day. Netflix runs on Cassandra. I have posted a whole case study on Netflix, and on Netflix on the in the report file as well. And LinkedIn uses Graphs database to power its recommendations engine. These examples like show how different NoSQL models are applied in practice. Let's move to the next slide. What is the benefits and limitations? Everything has their own benefits and their own limitations. Over here, the main benefits are the flexibility provided by NoSQL, the scalability, and the high performance of big data and the real-time applications. But there are also a few challenges which we have been facing, that unlike SQL, there are no single standard language which can create vendor lock-in. Many system relies on eventual consistency, which is fine for social media likes, but not for banking transactions. So complex queries are often harder to implement over here. While NoSQL is a powerful tool, I agree, but it requires careful designing and expertise with it. Let's move to the emerging tools, and with this we'll conclude the session as well. uh, Okay. Looking like I have covered most of these topics, but there is only one thing left. That is emerging tools and conclusions. Um, we can see emerging trends such as multimodals database that combine different NoSQL approaches, I would say, serverless NoSQL system in the cloud and tighter integration with real-time analytics and AI. And to conclude, I would like to say is NoSQL database offer scalability and flexibility that that the traditional relational systems often cannot match. But each type of NoSQL has its own strengths and its own weakness as well. And their adoption by companies like Netflix and Twitter shows their value in solving modern data and modern data challenges as well. However, they are not one size fits for all kind of solution. Like trade-offs like consistency and standardization must always be considered. So this was my task and this was my presentation. I'm open to questions. Thank you.